Number 5. Hog head cheese. After the hog killing, the head was boiled until every scrap of meat fell from the skull. The cheeks, tongue, and bits of flesh were chopped fine, seasoned with vinegar, pepper, and salt, then pressed into a mold and chilled until the natural gelatin set everything into a firm loaf. Hog head cheese was preservation as much as recipe. It lasted weeks in cool weather, providing protein long after the slaughter. Enslaved women who mastered the technique were valued for stretching one hog's head into food for days. The flavor was rich and porky, the texture dense with small pieces of meat suspended in savory jelly. Like chitterlings and pig feet, hog head cheese followed black communities out of slavery and into the 20th century, appearing in butcher shops and corner stores across the South. Number 4. Clabber and buttermilk. Fresh milk rarely reached the slave quarters. What did arrive was clabber, raw milk left to sour and thicken into a yogurt-like mass, and buttermilk, the thin acidic liquid left after churning butter for the main house. Both were considered waste products. Clabber was tangy and thick, eaten with a spoon or mixed into cornbread batter to provide lift and moisture. Buttermilk served the same purpose, and it was often drunk straight, despite its sour taste. These fermented dairy products provided calcium and protein that the standard ration lacked entirely. The bacterial cultures in clabber also aided digestion. Plantation mistresses poured these liquids out or fed them to pigs until someone realized the enslaved workers wanted them. After that, the leftovers were distributed deliberately, one more way to reduce costs while appearing generous. Number 3. Stolen scraps from the big house. This entry is different because it was not rationed or grown. It was taken. Enslaved cooks who worked in plantation kitchens smuggled food back to the quarters, hiding biscuits in apron pockets, wrapping meat in cloth, pouring gravy into jars tucked beneath skirts. The risk was severe. Theft of food was punishable by whipping, sale, or worse. Yet it happened on virtually every plantation because the hunger in the quarters was constant, and the abundance in the main house was obscene. Some formerly enslaved people described elaborate systems of concealment, coded signals between kitchen workers and field hands, and children stationed as lookouts. The stolen scraps, a piece of ham, a handful of flour, a cup of sugar, transformed meals from mere survival into something that tasted like defiance. Every biscuit smuggled out was a small revolution. Slaveholders called it theft. History calls it something else entirely. Number 2. Hoe cake. The hoe cake gets its own entry separate from corn pone because of what it represents. The name comes from its origin. Cornmeal batter, cooked on the flat blade of a garden hoe, held over a fire in the field. There was no kitchen, no table, no plate, just a tool meant for chopping earth, repurposed to cook food during a brief midday pause in labor. Enslaved field workers carried their cornmeal ration with them, mixed it with creek water, and cooked it on whatever metal surface was available. The hoe cake was the ultimate expression of the plantation's disregard for enslaved people's humanity. You were not worth a pan. You were not worth a break long enough to sit down. You cooked on your work tool, in your work field, on your work time. And yet, the hoe cake became an American classic. George Washington reportedly loved them. Thomas Jefferson served them at Monticello, prepared by the enslaved people whose ingenuity he never acknowledged. The hoe cake carries that full weight of history in every bite. Number 1. Whatever could be found. The most brutal food on this list is not a single dish. It is the condition itself. The constant grinding hunger that forced 4 million enslaved people to eat anything that could keep a body standing. Bark boiled into tea during the worst shortages. Clay eaten from riverbanks, a practice called geophagy, driven by mineral deficiencies so severe that the body craved dirt. Roasted acorns ground into bitter flour, turtle eggs dug from creek banks, persimmons so astringent they puckered the mouth until the first frost softened them. Every one of these foods tells the same story. A people who were given the absolute minimum to survive and responded not with surrender, but with an astonishing will to live. They studied every plant, every animal, every waterway. They remembered the foodways of their ancestors and adapted them to a hostile landscape. And from that suffering, they built the foundation of what the entire world now recognizes as American Southern cuisine. The barbecue, the fried chicken, the greens and cornbread, the gumbo and jambalaya. All of it traces back to people who were told they were worth less than the food they were denied. That is the list. 25 foods that tell a story most of America was never taught.